What is up, everybody? This is the first edition of something new we're going to bring to you guys from the Fight Strength podcast. It's going to be called FSP Overtime. It's going to be me and Phil talking some MMA stuff we don't get into during the regular show. Just us talking on topics, quick hitter, short listen. Hope you enjoy it. I am Jason Burgos. You know who I'm with, Phil Daru, PT strength and conditioning coach extraordinaire. Phil, what is going on tonight? We got a lot to talk about.
What up? What up? Yeah, so a lot of good news, a lot of bad news. So we're going to get deep into the subjects and talk a little bit of shit, maybe talk a little bit of nonsense, but also talk a little bit of informative speaking, because I'm always about that, but also, you know, we got to make sure we are talking about the right things at the right times, and there's a bunch of topics to be talked about, so let's make it happen.
All right, so let's get right into it. I mean, this topic forced the issue that, and it's perfect timing that we were starting to do this. I mean, it's a perfect day to start talking about it. Holy fucking shit. What the fuck? Good Lord, ridiculous. Jon Jones popped for steroids again after and following UFC 214. What is wrong with this man, Phil? What is wrong with this guy?
You ever heard the you remember Life, right? The movie Life.
Oh, Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence.
You remember Can't Get Right? Remember Can't Get Right?
No, which guy was that?
Was like the real talent there, and he almost got out of jail because he was just so talented, but he just
yep.
Yeah, that's Jon Jones right now. He just can't get right.
No.
That's what we're gonna can't get right, Jones. That's it.
This guy, he is in the conversation. I mean, and most people, for the most part, feel it's already a done deal that he's at least in the conversation with the greatest fighter of all time because of who he's beaten, how he's beaten him. This guy is like totally like a scarlet letter of just. Like, I just texted a friend saying, he went from being in the conversation greatest of all time to now he's like Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire. Yeah, he's good. He was great. He's fun to watch and totally dirty. Like, it's unbelievable what he's doing to his name. And plus, he's 30 years old now. He's not 24 and bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. He got years in front of him. He just wasted a year on suspension. This, based on the MMA Fighting report on the story, stating that this, may face a 2-year ban from USADA. I don't know if they have different bans for different substances, but if he loses 2 years now, 3 years of a career and his prime years, what a waste! Unbelievable.
Yeah. So we don't know exactly the full details of the story, what he got popped for from a substance perspective, and also you don't know how much was in the system unless it's already been out. But I heard it was something of Turinabol, which is a pretty hardcore steroid in the anabolic range.
That's what TMZ's reporting.
Yeah, so he wasn't just like popped for like sex pills at this point. You know what I mean? This is something that's totally different. This is something that's performance enhancement, and that would get him stronger, but also not put on water weight. So it makes a lot of sense that he would be on this type of compound.
Is this the type of thing that you might find, because perfect example, what we were planning to talk about was a different, positive test for a fighter, which was Junior Dos Santos earlier in the week, which we will get to in a little bit. But I mean, he's trying to make the excuse that he was using in a supplement is what's it called again?
Turinabol?
Yeah, there you go, Turinabol. Is that something that would be a supplement, or that's straight up something he's taking to make himself better, and it's not even an accident?
It depends on the dosages. It depends on what substance or how much they found in the urine sample, or the blood sample, wherever they took. But some of it could be grams, it could be nanograms, it could be anything. So at the same time, with the difference between Junior is that Junior took a supplement, over-the-counter supplement that was tainted with some small amounts, trace small amounts of anabolics. Yeah. So either it be a SARM or regular anabolics. That's a case to be known. But we definitely got to see what's really going on with Jones here. And if it is T-ball, that's a major anabolic steroid.
I mean, and now the next thing is, I mean, obviously now TMZ's reporting that Daniel Cormier is going to be given the title back, and this guy's been stripped, but Dana White has denied that. They said they haven't made that decision yet. What does this put Daniel Cormier and the division now? Like, does this give Daniel Cormier some kind of give him some of his reputation back? And then he lost him, but he did lose to a guy on a serious steroid, or it's just one of those things. He's still going to be a guy that's marked as one of the greatest fighters ever, but couldn't beat John Jones. What do you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think his reputation is tarnished through the fact that he could John. Yeah. No matter what, I mean, John was coked up or anabolic up, or juiced up in a sense. Either way, he couldn't beat him, and which sucks because Daniel's a good guy. He's a great competitor. He's a good champion, but at the end of the day, the public will not accept him as the true champion. It sucks, and it shouldn't be like that, but it is what it is. At the same time, I don't believe that him getting the title back just like that would be. I don't know. I don't think that would be a good thing. I think that they need to fight. Have two of the guys that are either 1 and 2 or whatever the case, or even bring Rumble back or some shit, and have them fight it out and really find a true champion in that, because I think Alexander Gustafsson will give him another run for his money.
I mean, the weird thing is, and for the case of giving something back to Dan Cormier, is that MMA Fighting talks about in their story that Jones was popped originally for the first year ban 3 days before UFC 200 for clomiphene and letrozole. Now, is there a case to be made that John Jones was kind of worried about losing to Dan Cormier, so he had to cheat now possibly on 2 occasions right before fighting him? Does that at least give some kind of extra something to Dan Cormier, that one of the greatest fighters of all time felt he needed an enhancement to beat him?
I don't really think that, and this is funny because it comes down to physiologically, psychologically, and just basics of fighting in general with skills and tact. I think he was more skillful, tactical in his approaches, and I think that the only reason why those anabolics may have helped him was from a mental standpoint.
Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, he really used too much physicality in his match. It was more so of picking him apart and being really tactical in his approaches. So I don't really think that it was something like he was overpowering Daniel or anything like that from the looks from what I see.
Yeah.
But I do know that a lot of guys, a lot of athletes, a lot of high-level athletes use performance enhancement to not even so much for the physicality aspect of it, but for the mental. And that could be it. That could be what it was. But either way, I don't feel like Daniel's not going to get any recognition from this. Unless I'm totally wrong and I fucking don't know what I'm talking about, but I honestly feel like the public are still not going to really accept Daniel. And they never really did anyways, to be honest. When he had the belt, nobody gave a fuck. They were all waiting for John Jones to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to put him. I mean, if he's up for it, I can't see him not being up for it. I mean, I think he has to be in a title fight. I think him versus Gustafsson makes the most sense because, in my opinion at least, that's number 2 best light heavyweight fight ever. That fight was a complete war, very tactical, very strategic. I mean, I loved the little changes in the game plan. Gustafsson was using his reach really well, giving Daniel a lot of difficulties. He came in and started getting the clinch and just dominated him with dirty boxing. The uppercuts, decimated Alexander Gustafsson and made it really close. But I think that's an easy fight. Rumble, I mean, it is interesting. Rumble is out there, but I mean, if Daniel's willing to fight, Rumble is kind of the odd man out. He's lost him twice. Jimmy Manuel just completely screwed up his chance to be in the title hunt by losing to Ozdemir, and Ozdemir's not there yet. He has definitely big time wins, but he's not in the conversation quite, at least to me, yet. So you got to do Gustafsson and this guy. But, I mean, kind of adding in the JDS story, I mean, you've been a part of this sport a long time. This kind of stuff, let's think about this. In the last maybe 2 years now, we've had Chad Mendes, Gilbert Melendez, John Jones twice, Frank Mir, Brock Lesnar, who am I forgot? Anderson Silva. All of these guys tested positive for steroids. is this the kind of thing that at one point does this start hurting the industry and hurting the sport? I mean, these superstar fighters are using the stuff. I mean, it hurt baseball. Doesn't it have to start hurting MMA, especially since MMA is kind of still niche? It's not, football, that in football, which seems to have the worst people, can just get by any terrible thing these athletes do. Can MMA still get by with this kind of image it's developing with its best fighters?
Mm-hmm. I think the testing itself, the USADA testing, is very strenuous, and it is. They pick out things that like you wouldn't even think are even important, from a performance standpoint. Like even picking up a sex pill, or I think one was what did Chad Mendes get popped with? I
forget. I know him and Gilbert both. They didn't try to put up a defense. They just kind of went, well, made a mistake. It is what it is. I never got the sense they were cheating, but they knew they screwed up. And me and you talked about that. And that's another thing that's worth talking. When do these fighters stop being stupid? Come on. Like, fine, John Jones was straight up cheating. If that's what happened, he was trying to get an edge, fine. But these guys that are continually coming out and acting like, oh, I didn't know how that happened, or I messed up. Like, you're professionals. You call USADA, call UFC. Can I take this?
Here's the thing: when it comes to the UFC fighters, they have a list that USADA actually has for them, and they can call up USADA themselves and actually ask them if it's okay or not. So, it's on them really to really figure out what they need to take. They're professionals at the end of the day, and high-level professionals, so they have to be, on point with what they're taking at all times.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's unprofessional.
Yep.
And I don't think it just doesn't seem right for them to take whatever, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when you're an athlete and you're getting pitched a lot of things, a lot of supplements saying, this is fine, we're good, I can give you this, and they're all sponsoring them. A lot of the times, these guys and girls are naive to the fact that, okay, everything's good because they say it's good, but it's, they got to do their own research and be accountable for their own actions.
I mean, you get to talk with these fighters. I mean, and if this is an NFL player, they can get by. The baseball players, in baseball, it's almost good reason to cheat because you can get that fat contract and you're still set even if you miss a year or two. Like in MMA, they don't make that much. The window is so small for a fighter in general. It's almost like a running back in football. It's so short a window. You have to be smart. You have to be straight up cautious. You have to be nervous about anything. But you are around these fighters. Can you explain maybe for people that are listening? What is the draw? How does it come about that these people, like, say, for example, the constant thing is, it was something in a supplement I get. What is the process like for a fighter that some supplement company comes to them? Are they really trying to talk them into it? Like, how do they talk to them? Do they offer them money? Do they, what is the draw where these fighters are making these mistakes that they shouldn't be making?
Well, the thing is that we don't know when these supplement companies interact with these guys, it's not really our fault at the end of the day. Yeah. I believe it is up to the fighter to come to us and ask us if it's okay to take or what they're taking in general. But it's also on the coaches in general to converse with the athlete or fighter and see what they are taking, when they're taking it, where they get it from, and so on. And it goes hand in hand. At the end of the day, they're grown-ass men and women, and they need to make sure that they're doing their homework on all their supplements, especially with the UFC guys and the girls, because USADA does not fucking play.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. I mean, you're finally starting to see something in MMA where guys are making a little bit more and girls are making more, and you're having some competition when Bellator is bringing prices up for guys. So they have to be smart, and that's great that you brought that up. That you can call them like that. There's no excuse. Like you can call 5 minutes. This is good. No, it's not. Sorry, I can't do business with you guys. I don't want to mess up my career because, as you told me. I mean, also let the fans know because this stuff. When a guy tests positive, I can't imagine a sponsor who sponsors it's already tough business for them outside the UFC with the Reebok deal. I can't imagine going, yeah, we'll stick with you. You've been popped for steroids and you're tarnished, but we're going to stick around. I'm guessing they kind of they say bye-bye.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, man. They start losing a lot of sponsors. Obviously they get the long layoff, 2 years, 1 year suspension. a lot of shit happens, man. And the main problem is their reputation is tarnished, and that's a hard pill for a fighter to swallow because they try to build up their reputation their whole entire life.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the world of combat sports, where reputation means a lot, and what you accomplish in the cage, but also what you do outside the cage, will ultimately lead to either your demise or your triumph. And you know, if you're getting popped for things that are, you know, unethical at times, quote unquote, you know, it can end up being bad for you all the way around 360. So it's not just losing money, it's losing respect, and that's a big fucking issue.
So let's say JDS, you know, Junior Dos Santos can't come up with a good enough excuse and he has to sit out a year. I mean, for all intents and purposes, is his time of relevancy in the heavyweight division probably over? Because let's say he has to miss a year, he's already aging, he's already had multiple title shots. Is it kind of going to be hard for him to really stay in that title picture? Can he ever be in that title picture ever again after this?
Here's the thing, and Junior's my boy. You know, he's a tremendous human being in my eyes. I mean, the most funniest guy, like the most laughable guy in the gym. He's like very outgoing. He's, you know, funny. He loves to play around. He's a big ass kid. You know, but that being said, if you want to be realistic with it, I think that it's going to be very hard for him to come back at this time and point in his career and really make a run at it. But you never know. You know, he was a champion, you know, multiple times, and you know, so who knows? And we'll see at the end of the day. And if he can make a comeback, I'm all for it because I'm riding with him. And you know, but like I said, time's ticking.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, on to the next, another subject we wanted to talk about. And I think this will be an interesting debate between us. I think we may have a divide on this one. A really, really good fight was announced this week that's coming up. I think it's going to be on the New York UFC 217 card. It's going to be Jorge Masvidal versus Stephen Thompson. I mean, you know Jorge. He's an ATT guy. I mean, I know you're going to probably be biased on this, and I can't blame him whatsoever because Jorge's great. What are your early thoughts going into this fight?
I think George is going to dog him out. I think that you know, the thing with Wonder Boy is that he likes to. He's basically a tag sparring type of karate guy. So he's really trying to get in and out. But the thing with Georgia is he can still dog him out by taking him down, you know, and grinding him out against the cage, you know, working angles, making sure that he's not always moving back and trying to get in and out. So if he cuts off the cage on him and then really works that body, gets inside, takes him down, pounds him out a little bit, and then goes for the submission or just ends up finishing him right there, I don't think it's going to be that long of a fight, to be honest. And if it does go the distance, Georgia will edge him out. Definitely, I won't even say edge him out. He'll beat him by unanimous decision.
I think all your points are fair, and you know, you're in the inside, so you have a better idea. I actually feel this is probably a bad matchup for Jorge. Now, I like Jorge Masvidal. I've liked him for a long time. I was on the Jorge Masvidal's respect bandwagon way back in Strikeforce. Like, I remember when he fought Gilbert Melendez, when Gilbert Melendez was the best 155er not in the UFC, and he gave him a long night. Like, Masvidal will go in there with top guys, make it dirty, make it, you know, grind, hard-fought fight. Now, the main reason I don't like this matchup is it's the kind of fighter Jorge doesn't do well with. Now, without a doubt, he's got some notable wins on. Like, I'm looking through his Sherdog now, and you know, in advance. Now, he's got wins against Ross Pearson, Ellenberger, Donald Cerrone, all good fights, and we have to give Jorge tons of credit because, you know, he's fighting at 170. I mean, he's a weird guy. He's probably would be optimal like a 165, maybe a new division kind of guy. Like, he's kind of small for 170, but kind of hard to cut for 155. But he now he's got the Damian Maia loss. No shame in that loss. The only guy he couldn't beat was Tyron Woodley because Tyron is just a superb athlete and a great wrestler and couldn't take him down. But some of his losses are Al Iaquinta, split decision because no one beats him easy. Ben Henderson, a split decision, and Lorenz Larkin. And I think what is similar about all these guys are move. They move around. They move their feet. And if there's anybody that's great at constant movement, it's Stephen Thompson, and he's a big 170. He's got length. if anybody could surprise, it's Jorge. But
did he fight? Did he fight Lorenz Larkin at 170, or did he fight him at? Yeah, he had to fight him at 170, right?
Yeah, because Lorenz Larkin, that's where he's been. That's where he got on that hot streak at 170. So I mean, Lorenz, all guys that move around, quick kick,
Sure.
and this he fought Benson when Benson was still like in his prime Benson, not Bellator Benson, which has been a disappointment. All these guys are kind of movement. They get in and out, and I just feel like that might be Jorge's kryptonite. But then again, Jorge has continued to just get better and better every year. Like to go from
Not
fighting,
only that,
huh?
Not only that, it's like I see him in the gym.
Yeah.
And we got guys that move around just the same, if not better. And he's stopping guys. He's submitting guys. He's taking guys down. People have a misconception like George is a straight stand-up guy, stand-up fighter. Mm-hmm. He can fucking wrestle, man. Like you guys, people don't understand that, but he can wrestle. I don't know. I mean, obviously, the thing with Damian Maia, I mean, shit, what Damian did very well was he stayed on him, and I think Georgie did get a little bit lazy in his takedown defense, thinking he could get out of it. But it's a very underrated offensive wrestling game that he has. So that's in the back pocket. If we need to use that, we can utilize that. But I see him every day in the gym, and he gets consistently better from, I mean, shit. Look at the time when he was at 55 till now. Even back when he was at, with Strikeforce. He's a million times better. Plus, he has more drive, more determination because he sees it. He feels that belt right by his side. It's in arm's reach. So now there's an incentive. Now, George, I can tell you right now, man, when it comes to belts and money rules over the belt.
Oh, yeah.
But, at the same time, if you win that belt, you make more money.
Exactly.
So that's the driving force. And when you cash, you're going to take it. So.
And also, I mean, to add to your point of his grappling is really underrated. This guy, Damian Maia, arguably the best grappler in UFC, maybe in UFC history, with the likes of Jacare and Frank Mir. This guy said he was one of the best grapplers he's faced in the UFC ever. That's saying a lot from Damian Maia, who's fought all kinds of guys. Carlos Condit, Matt Brown, like really crafty, good grappler. He said he was the toughest, he was the best he's fought because he's that good. But to add more case to why I just think that Stephen Thompson's a tough matchup is without a degree. He has the takedown in his pocket, but the fact that Tyron Woodley had trouble taking him down, and but he still got the draw and the loss. He's beaten Roy McDonald, good takedowns. He's beaten Johnny Hendricks, good takedowns. Jake Ellenberg, good takedowns. And also, if we're going to talk really good strikers, he has a TKO win. He's the one that dispatched current 185 champion Robert Whittaker from 170. He beat him, TKO Robert Whittaker. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is. No, I'm not gonna lie, that's impressive, and that's something to say about his style. But at the end of the day, styles make fights, and we'll see. When they fighting again? When's
I think it's supposed to be at 217 in New York, so I guess that's October. I think.
Okay. Well,
I mean, either way, fantastic. That's a fight. I'm glad. That's a fans die-hard kind of fight. That is a good fight between two of the best in the division. But moving to a fight that, I mean, the funniest thing about this story is that on so many websites, the response to the story was, "What is this? Why are they doing this? Why?" Antonio Bigfoot Silva is going into a fight with Glory heavyweight champion Rico Verhoeven. Just the thought of Bigfoot going into Glory should scare you, but then he's going in there with a champion who's one of their better fighters. Now, if you're unsure, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Antonio Silva, he fought Mark Hung, war fight, he fought Kane, he's a great fighter, what are you talking about? He is. Antonio Silva is a very good fighter, one of the better heavyweights of the last decade or so. He's not top 5, top 10, but he's very good. He's very solid. Fought Elite XC, fought Strikeforce, fought all over the world. He's 19-12. Not a bad record. There's no shame in that heavyweight. But let's put this into perspective, people. He's got 12 losses, 10 by KO or TKO. Let me say that again. 10 by KO or TKO. Currently, he's on a 5-fight losing streak where in 4 of those, 3 he got KO'd, 1 he got TKO'd. He has the one win against Sao Pelele from August of 2015. So the man hasn't won in almost 2 years. And before that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Cain Velasquez too, and the Mark Hunt decision draw got overturned because he got popped. So since May of 2013, he is, let me count this here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. He is, what's that? 1, 1, and 8. 1, 1, no, excuse me, 1, 8, and 1. 1 win, 8 losses, and a draw. And he's going to go in there with the glory heavyweight champion. You know fighters. You know how tough they are. They will fight till the end. They will fight till they die. At what point do you kind of have to step in on a guy and say, Antonio, man, this is not good for you. You know, this is CTE stuff out there. This is not good for your life. Like, just it's time to think about something else.
Man, you know, it's tough because I was a fighter once, and with the same concept of, you may get hurt, you may get injured for life, but when you're at that level that Bigfoot's been at, it's tough to really let it go because you don't know anything else. You have nothing else that you're doing. The only thing that you know is fighting and fighting for money and around big names and things like that. So do you really stop it? And it's the same goes for aging football players that don't understand the way that they need to get up out of that fucking sport. Otherwise, they're going to be seriously, permanently injured. Yeah. So do you really step in? I mean, you can say what you can say, and hopefully they'll take your advice. But at the end of the day, the fighter's going to do what the fighter wants to do. And you can't really skew them in other directions because that's why they're fighters.
Yeah.
You know, they have strong will, strong mind. I deal with a lot of these guys. I deal with a lot of personalities and a lot of different attitudes, but the one thing still remains is that when a fighter puts his mind to something and is totally embedded in this whole situation, it's hard to get them out of that mindset. And, if they don't want to do something, or if they want to do something, they're going to do it, or they're not going to do it. So.
Yeah, there's a comment from an MMA Mania story about it where he makes a comment, I mean, because he understood there was a backlash from critics and fans, and his comment is, critics will always exist, and we have to know how to deal with them, Silva told MMA Fighting via MMA Mania. Sometimes they don't even mean to criticize you, but they are just jealous they wanted to be a professional fighter and don't have that talent. I was always a humble person. I came from a humble family in Paribas, whatever, and competed around the world, and some people don't accept that. You know, I get it, I get him being defensive about it, but it's not because people are like, what an idiot guy. So it's because they do. You know, the fans do care about fighters, and they do care about athletes. You know, some of them are just meatheads and just want to see blood, but there's people that do care. Like, I genuinely care for this guy, and he's not in bad shape later in his life, and this is kind of one of those things that could put him in bad shape. Also, I get why promotions, have to do it. They have to make money. If you can't, make a fighter stop fighting, do you think maybe athletic commissions and promotions have to kind of step in, like, look, this is for your better interest. We don't want to see you hurt yourself long term. We don't want to sanction you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you have to think about the fighter at the end of the day, and that's something that the commission needs to step in and do something, because you can't really put it on them.
Yeah,
I can't really put it on the coaches, because from a coaching perspective, you're gonna do what the fighter wants to do, but also have the best intentions for the fighter itself. And you don't want to be that guy that stops them from feeding their family, from, making their dreams come true, whatever the case may be. The commission, although whatever, can stop that from happening because nobody gives a fuck about the commission.
Yeah.
And you don't have a vested interest. You don't have a relationship with the commission. I mean, unless, for some cases you may, but for the most part, there's no real, you could tell them, you can even go up to it. And you know what, to be honest, I've thought about doing this at some points too with a lot of my guys, is maybe going up to the commission and stating the facts and seeing what they think and see if they can step in and really maybe alter the mindset and change the direction of the fighter to go a different path.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot. I mean, I feel for the guy, but man, I worry for the guy too. And that's pretty much it. It's our first edition of FSP Overtime. Just talking that trash about MMA, getting some thoughts out, getting some opinions. Phil Daru, Jace Burgos. Any parting thoughts on this first FSP Overtime, Phil?
No, I like it, and everybody better be ready because we're coming with some more fire. And I'm actually gonna start to bring on some real characters here, and me and Jason are gonna chop it up extra good. So make sure you come back, check us out. This is like the intermission between our guest spots. Mm-hmm. So overtime, it's gonna be on point. I'm pretty excited about this, Jason. How about you?
I'm pumped. I don't think we get enough opportunities to just talk shit about MMA during the regular show because we got big things to do on Fight Strength Podcast. We got guests, we got strength and conditioning knowledge to drop on people. There's just so much to pack. We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to do 2-3 hour Joe Rogan type of show. We don't want to do that to y'all. We want to give you something nice. So we give you that little in between. This is the interlude between each episode. Also, remember, follow us. Facebook, Fight Strength Podcast page. Follow us on Twitter, Fight Strength _. Please remember all this stuff. iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Google Play Music. We're everywhere for you guys. Let us know your thoughts. Comment, rate us, share. Let the world know. We got some stuff to tell you about. Phil, also, give them your social media. You know the deal. We got to end this with your social media.
Yeah, so go ahead and follow me, Daru Strong, on pretty much all social media accounts except for Snapchat. That's Daru Strong 1. Also, if you're looking for more content from me, go ahead and sign up for my weekly newsletter. That's on DaruStrong.com. The opt-in is right there when you click on it. And, I'll be kicking out some more content each week for y'all. So go ahead and do that.
Oh, and don't forget the YouTube page. We put the link for the YouTube page on the last show. Phil's YouTube page. You can see a bunch of his videos and stuff on there, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm coming out with some more fire, actually. Vlog series and all types of things from the fighters' training to my training and just everyday, bullshitting around. And also, actually, I should say bullshitting because I'm a fucking businessman. I do my thing. I'm personally invested in my whole entire career. So, yeah, there's no bullshit. It's all business and a little bit of fun.
As you know, it's business time in FSP Overtime. Also, look out for our next episode. Because if you didn't listen to Zach Emanesh or all the other ones, you got to go listen. But next episode, we're going to have a Chuck Mindenhall, who I believe is going to be in the building for McGregor Mayweather. Going to have some interesting thoughts about that. Got a lot of things to talk about MMA. Can't wait to ask Mr. Mindenhall, MMA junkie, about John Jones, all this craziness. So look out for that. It's coming on next week. But for me, Jason Burgos, he's Phil Daru. This is FSP Overtime. Peace!